go. All right, so first, this time, you're going to go ahead and we're going to start with the cone command. So we're going to go cone. You're going to draw a cone. Draw a Worcester cone, so a tall, skinny one. And go ahead and put that in a conceptual view and put it in your normal isometric view. So I'm going to let you do all of those things on your own. So normal isometric view, cone, and go. All right. So now, what we're going to do with this is we did just put in this isometric view. What I want you to do now is let's go ahead and put it back into the normal top view. So we're going to come back over here and go to top. Make sure your word top is orientated correctly. Remember, if it's on the side, you might have to rotate your cube a little bit here. So there, now what we're going to do is we're going to use our normal D text. Remember, that's our single line text. We're going to do DT for D text. We're going to come down below here. We're going to put some text in, about this tall. I mean, there's my starting point. We're going to make it in about that tall text. Rotation angle, we're going to keep it at 0, so we're going to hit enter there. And we're going to write the word top. Now, if your word top appears like mine does and kind of goes into your cone, either move your cone up or your top down, so you have the word top just right there below the cone. Once you have that done, go ahead and put it back into the isometric view, and we're going to take a little bit of a look at this. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to look at this. So, notice that this says top view. This is our top view. Over here on our little cube, it says the top view here. And what I really want you to notice is this X, Y, and Z coordinate. Notice the Z is pointing straight out the top, the same direction as my cone is pointing up. So cone's pointing up, this pointing up, that's the top. So now let's change this over here. Let's change to the front view. So I'm going to switch to the front view. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the cone command. I'm going to draw a cone right here in the front view. So I'm going to start my cone. I want to point it right out towards me here. And, oh, well, look at what's happening. My cone's going up that way still. All right, I don't know what's going on here. That's kind of weird. So it's pointing out that way. I'm going to go ahead and switch this here. I'm going to rotate it to the right side view. And now I'm going to draw that cone coming out of my right side view. So I'm going to come over here and, well, again, I'm just drawing a line there. What the heck's up with that? And, well, now I move my mouse. Oh, and now I'm drawing a cone here. What I'm trying to show you is, by clicking on this cube, no matter where we click it, we click the corner, we click the top, the right, the front, whatever we click, it does not change this little thing called UCS over here. This UCS is the user coordinate system. The X should always be our side-to-side measurement, Y is the up and down, and Z is that dimension coming out towards you. So clicking on this does not change that. All this does is changes the way you look at things. So not very often in CAD am I going to tell you, hey, go look at the drawing. All right, today all you're going to do is you're going to look at this. You're never ever going to just go look at something. You're actually going to be creating, you're actually going to be drawing something. So instead of using that one here, most often you're going to use do this a little bit different. So what I'm going to do here first off is I'm going to get rid of my extra 2 cones I drew there. I'm just going to erase those out. I'm going to leave my original one that says top. And now instead of changing it here on this cube, I'm actually going to do a drawing. I'm going to come over here where it says custom view. And yours may say something different depending on what view you're at. Click on it and change that to the front view there. Okay? So change it to the front view there. Now let's go ahead and let's draw our cone again over here beside this cone and notice what happens. Ah, now it is drawing that cone out towards me. We want to draw a nice, again, tall, skinny cone. And this time we're going to use our D text again. Put our text underneath of it. And guess it, what are we going to write? Front, because we're in our front view. So, now what we've got is, we've got this cone that points out of our top view, this cone that points out of our front view. But one thing I want you to notice here is, okay, if I go back to this view that's called front, notice what our cube tells us. It tells us we're on top. Again, this is where it gets a little bit confusing. Our X, Y, and Z, changing it here changes the user coordinate, which is the Z pointing out towards me. So if I'm trying to think of a three-dimensional object, and I recognize one side is the front, one side is the top, one side is the right, etc., that's what this will change. It changes so that Z is pointing out that, so I can draw things pointing in that direction. This is referencing how it is in the drawing you're currently doing. So the drawing I'm currently doing, that view looking straight down, that would be considered the top of the drawing. And this would be the X and the Y. But in orientation to the entire block I'm drawing, this is now the front view. Again, I know that's a little bit confusing. So we're going to do one more step here. I think you can probably read that step. We're going to go to the right side. And then the right side view somewhere, I really don't care exactly where. Draw again a tall, skinny cone. And use some D-text underneath of that. And right. And put the word right underneath of it. Alright, so now, as you're looking at this and you rotate this drawing around, you can see now this is pointing out what would be a front view, this is pointing out what would be a right side view, this is pointing out the top. Now, the problem that we have is, our Z is still pointing in the direction of the last thing I drew, which was the right side view. So, if I go over here, and I try to put this in the normal isometric view, it flips me around and it does weird things. And my right is pointing up, my top is pointing out this way, and my front is pointing this way. So before you put in the isometric view, we've got to put this back in our normal orientation, which is the top view. So we come over to here first, as your first step, put it in the top view. Bring me your phone, please. I don't know why you continually are on your phone, but you know better. Bring it to me. I'm here giving instructions. You're not paying attention at all, and you're on your phone. I don't get it. So, normal top view, and then put this in a normal isometric view. So your front is showing out the front side, and your right is showing out your right side. So there's this. Now, the last thing I want you to do before you save this is get it into an orientation where you can see, or not, I shouldn't say orientation. Move stuff around where I can see and read it. So right now, I can't read front, top, and right. I can read top, runt, and rig. So I'm going to move my front down a little bit. So I can see that is front. I'm going to move probably both of these over this way a little bit that way. And then maybe that up to there. Yeah, there we go. So now I can see very nicely front, top, right side view. Zoom in on it like so. And save that as views in your practice folder, and then you can upload that one to StudentView. All right.